In this video, we're going to look at how to place numbers in scientific notation in numerical order. Remember to do this along with me in your lecture work packet. For number 1, we're going to order the numbers from least to greatest. Remember, least means the smallest number and greatest means the largest number. Now notice all of the numbers are written in scientific notation. You do have the option to rewrite the numbers as ordinary numbers first. However, you can do this really fast just by understanding what the base 10 is. Remember, base 10 simply represents how many zeros follow after the 1. So to order the numbers from least to greatest, you simply need to look at the base with the smallest exponent. 10 to the power of 3 has the smallest exponent, and therefore that number in scientific notation is the smallest number. Base 10 to the power of 4 would be the next number, but notice that there are two numbers that have base 10 to the power of 4. In order to compare which number would be the greatest, we simply look at the decimal numbers. And just as we did before, we want to compare the decimal numbers by their place value. As you can see, in the ones place, they both have the digit 2. In the tenths place, they both have the digit 4. However, when you get to the hundredths place, because the 7 is smaller than the 8, it would mean it would be the next number in our order. So 2 and 477 thousandths times 10 to the power of 4 would be the second number in this list. Then obviously 2 and 48 hundredths times 10 to the power of 4 would be the third number. And then last of all, 1 and 9 tenths times 10 to the power of 5. In number 2, we want to order the numbers from greatest to least. And with these numbers, we're looking at the decimal numbers. Now sometimes they might ask you to do greatest to least or least to greatest. For these ones, notice that the base 10 have negative powers. Remember, negative powers represent the decimal numbers that are smaller than 1. Sometimes negative numbers can be a bit tricky for some. One way to remember it is to think of money. If you think about negative numbers being how much money you owe someone, then negative 5 will represent owing someone a lot of money. However, in the scale of things, negative 5 would be the least number. One way to help it out is to see these numbers written in a vertical scale. Here you see a diagram of a person swimming at sea level and a boat on sea level. Below sea level, a diver is represented as swimming negative 1 units below. And the mast of the sailboat is shown to be about 3 units above the sea level. Notice in this diagram that the deeper the ocean goes, the higher the numbers go in the negative scale. So that means negative 3 and negative 2 are both larger than negative 4. It also means that negative 1 is larger than negative 2. So when looking at negative numbers, remember the vertical scale and just compare it to simply looking at sea level. Remember, the numbers go from the negative numbers past 0 up to the positive numbers. Alright, so let's go ahead and order these numbers from greatest to least, remembering that greatest means the largest number. Keeping in mind what we saw in the diagram, our largest value would be 10 to the power of negative 3. However, there are two values that have 10 to the power of negative 3. So that means we can look at the decimal part of this number and decide which number would go first. Remember, in these numbers, we're looking for the larger number. And when you look in the ones place, they both have the digit 1. In the tenths place, they both have the digit 0. However, when we get to the hundredths place, we see that one has 7 and the other has 9. And because 9 is larger than 7, it would mean that 1 and 9 hundredths times 10 to the power of negative 3 is our larger number. Obviously, 1 and 74 thousandths times 10 to the power of negative 3 would be our second number. When looking at our last two numbers, we notice that they are very easy to distinguish. Because we're looking at the negative powers, then 10 to the negative 4 would be the next number. So 2 and 9 tenths times 10 to the power of negative 4 would be third in the list. And our last number would be 9 and 48 hundredths times 10 to the power of negative 5. Alright, so that's how we order numbers in scientific notation. Remember to go ahead and to do the assignment and the quiz, and I'll see you in the next video.